Today I'm going to be indecisive and embrace the technology. Hi everyone, Steve Elliott here again. This piece that I'm working on today, which is in Artstudio Pro, began life as a sketch, and I don't normally show the sketching part when I do a painting. I kind of skip over that, but this time I wanted to show you how I do it, because there's a lot of sort of architectural work in there, and basically I create my art, my canvas similar size to the photo, and then as it's next to it I can judge pretty much where an object belongs on that canvas, and then all I have to worry about is the angles of the lines and the horizontal positioning of everything. As you can see, I started off making it too wide, and then I shrunk it down, and at this point I could have cropped it. So that's a cool feature in Artstudio Pro that isn't in Procreate, by the way. You can actually crop your paintings, and there I do that there. So as you can see, I've got a blue, I'm using a charcoal pencil. I didn't know where I was going with this. I just started drawing it. I thought, I really like this photo and I want to do something with it, and I started sketching it. And once I'd got the sketching, which I'm nearly done now, I'm just putting the figures in. Notice I'm just sort of doing little triangle shapes for the people. I start to think on the lines of doing a coloured pencil drawing. Now, I don't know why I thought that was a good idea, because I'm not the most patient person in the world, and by the time I'd started to etch this in, at this point I was getting bored. I wasn't in a mood for sort of therapeutic etching and cross hatching and things, and I did a little bit, as you can see. So I started penciling all of this in, and I don't know, at some point I got really bored with this very quickly. I was probably on it about 20 minutes or so, and in fact you can see now the technique's sort of straying slightly from the cross hatching that I was doing before to sort of tilting the pencil and putting blends in. So then I scrapped that idea. I thought, that is a bad idea. What can I do now? I know, let's put a watercolor ground behind it. I think the problem with the drawing was it was on white paper, and I thought maybe if I just get some local colour over the whole of the painting, that might make it easier for me to produce something a little bit quicker. So I'm getting local colour on, and I'm using the eraser to lift out highlights there, as you can see. So I'm quite happy with this. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm way happier with this. This is day 2 now, I think. I gave up on it. I was just so bored with it after the first day. I gave up, and I think maybe, no, this was still day 1. I was still sort of working away, putting the watercolour in, and then doing the thing where I sort of crack loads of colour on and then erase it out, doing that. So it's turning it from a pencil drawing to a watercolour, and I wasn't particularly feeling it. I was sort of working at it and pushing it and thinking, yeah, it's coming on. Quite like it. It's looking very traditional. I was thinking that this building is too dark for what I really want. So the whole of the thing I'm feeling is looking a little bit boring and just like something I've done a million times before. And I was really struggling with motivation, and I was doing this painting just going through the processes, really, I wasn't really enjoying it that much. So, continue. I'm still working at it, still doing this watercolor thing. And I'm thinking, it's looking all right. It's coming together. It's looking very close to the photo. Usually I get a bit more adventurous with colours and things and experiment more. As you know, I sort of just use the photo as a rough guide to what I want to do. But in this case, I'm being much more faithful to the colours and reproducing it pretty much like the photo. And then here I try something to sort of put a foggy haze over the distance, and it's not working, so I scrap that. And then you can see I totally throw away the watercolor, and this is the following day now. And unfortunately, I didn't get the first little bit recorded. But as you can see here, I'm going in for a really loose pencil effect, almost scribbling. And I think I did this because I was fed up with it, and I didn't want to abandon it because I thought it had got potential. But I didn't want to do it as a watercolor, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to experiment and have fun with it. And so as soon as I started to get into this scribbling technique, where I'm just sort of really just going for it, I was really enjoying it and loving the effects that I'm getting with the pencils now. And I decide that at some point I'm going to turn off the original blue pencil line. You can see it's not switched on now. I keep toggling it back on and off as I'm working, but I decide that is going to go, and I'm going to use just all of these scribbled lines to use in my finished drawing. Now you can see I've toggled it back on again, and just using it as a guide. And you can see I'm sort of scribbling in all of these shapes of stones of the buildings, and sort of just some really quick lines flashed across the roof to give the idea of the tiles. And yeah, I was really enjoying it. So it had gone from being a painting that I wasn't feeling at all to something that I was beginning to feel quite proud of, just as a sketch, really. Or no, it's a bit more than a sketch, because this took quite a few hours to do, although it is a very loose impression. The original drawing was quite tight, and I put a lot of work into getting everything right, but this overdrawing is the exact opposite. So where you see a lot of these artists do a really rough drawing and then they keep tightening it up and tightening it up, I've worked the opposite way round, and I've gone from a reasonably tight drawing to something much more loose and enjoying it. So and I think it's because the reason I was enjoying this is because I was experimenting, and I'm sort of trying something I haven't done before. I'm pushing boundaries, and there's my Facebook notification annoying me there. Sorry about that. So just enjoying this experience of doing something that I haven't really done before. So this still isn't really, I mean, at the title it says embracing the technology. I'm still not doing anything radical here. I'm still just sort of working in a very conventional way, but in a different style to what I normally work in. But a little bit later on, I do decide that I want to do something different. So the colours are still very similar to the photo, and I'm still sort of banking on this idea of having a mist coming down over the old drawing. So I proceed to create a new layer and put a blend on that and mess around with the colours, trying to get this mist. But then, boom, I have this eureka moment and think of a message that a lady called Patricia Coveney posted on one of my videos. So thanks for this, Patricia, because I'll read it out quickly, the important bit. She says, I agree with the earlier post that whilst it is really great to mimic the natural media, we should exploit the techniques we can use in digital media that we don't find anywhere else. I think you do this anyway, but maybe we need re-educating that it's not cheating, it is still creativity. So at that point, I'm looking at this and thinking, wow, I've just transformed the look of this drawing with the click of a button. So then I go into the blending modes, and you can see here, I'm just sort of going through them one at a time. I've got a black and white version there, and the saturation and the colour do the same sort of thing. So I'm just sort of going through them all thinking, this is really interesting. Maybe I can use these blending modes as a technique to just transform this painting. And while I'm talking now, I'm thinking, oh my God, I could take the original painting and superimpose that over the top and get an even different effect. Or if I was doing a night painting, I could use these effects to enhance the colours and change the saturation. So thanks for that, Patricia, because it's really opened my eyes into not just trying to be traditional all the time. And sometimes with a little bit of experimenting, you can open up all new avenues and ideas to explore. So what started off as a drawing that I was really not feeling or getting in the groove with, I eventually had a lot of fun exploring new ideas. So I hope you found this video interesting and enjoyed it. And if you have, a big thumbs up as always is much appreciated. It helps me out a lot. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I have lots of videos like this and I would love to be sharing them with you. So hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye.